Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/Malicious Compliance. In today's episode, no written notice? No can do. No refunds once a defective product has been opened, OKNP. 1 minute ended up costing them. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. No written notice? No can do. So I work at a major university in the USA. I run a night crew that works a swing shift. Every 6 months or so, upper management likes to have some all-staff meetings where everyone in our department shows up to listen to them talk about how great they are. Overall, pretty big waste of time. First one I ever went to, I was forced to go by my previous supervisor. I had to be there at 10 a.m. for a 90-minute meeting. My normal start time was 4 p.m., so this was a huge inconvenience. The next year, that supervisor had left and I was the new supervisor. I knew another meeting was coming because I had received several emails about it. However, I had read the contract and it's required that any temporary shift change requires 48 hours written notice. So I decide to say nothing. Finally, less than 24 hours before the event, we finally receive our notice. I immediately reply saying that they failed to give us 48 hours notice and we would not be attending. My manager was initially upset because I didn't say anything earlier. I informed him that wasn't my job and pointed to the contract. He eventually gave in and said, "Fine, you don't have to come. Next time we will give you more notice." However, I decided to make this a larger issue. I spoke to the director, who was also upset we wouldn't be attending. So, I offered that we could do a smaller event for the night crew. Long story short, ever since then we now have a separate event at night. Turns out there is far more than just our shop. There are several other groups, including custodians, who also don't have to adjust their shifts. I never intended it to be that far-reaching, but that simple rule saved us a ton of heartache. No one thinks about the night crew, lol. No refunds once a defective product has been opened, OKNP. So this just happened yesterday. I went to a store, we'll call them Crappy Tires, to buy an air mattress. Took it home and turns out there's a hole in it. I take the mattress to another store on the same day for a refund. This store was closer to where I actually live, and get told by a stubborn manager that they can't accept opened packages back for refund, so it's exchange only. I argue with her for a few minutes, even compromising by asking for store credit, but the manager refuses. Okay. Cue malicious compliance, I'll take the exchange. Woke up this morning and went back to the original store to get a full refund. Now, one store gets a brand new product back that they can sell again and the other store is out a piece of stock that they could have sold to someone else. Some people are just too dumb for their jobs. 1 minute ended up costing them. Around 20 years ago, I got a job at a local factory which manufactured aluminum windows and doors for some very large new builds, huge skyscraper types. I started out as a general laborer but within 3 years had worked my way up to fitter/manufacturer. Then the firm invested a huge amount of money in a new CNC machine. I was selected to be one of the programmers/operators. I was sent to Germany from the UK to be taught how to run it. It was a real head scrambler to start with, but eventually I figured it out and loved the job. Once it was installed and running smoothly, the company was able to deal with much bigger contracts, so naturally took them on. In order to fulfill all the work, I had to ensure the machine worked every minute of the working day possible. My hours were 8 to 5. I would arrive at work at 7:30 and spend the next 30 minutes firing up all the computers, turning on the machine and running it through all the setup procedures and making sure it was ready to go. Then I would walk across to the main factory at 8 o'clock to clock in. However, one day I had a small issue with the machine which took a few minutes to fix, so by the time I got to the clock-in machine it was 8:04. I really didn't think anything of it until I got my payslip that week. It was 15 minutes short. So I went to see my manager. He looked at the payslip and said company policy was 3 minutes late, clock in allowed only. Over that time is an automatic 15-minute deduction, but he knew it was a genuine reason for the late clock in, so would speak to the payroll department and get it sorted. They, however, said tough. Rules are rules. So no prizes for guessing what I did next. From then on I arrived at 7.30 and sat and drank coffee until 7.55, walked over to clock in, and only then started my setup. That 2.5 hours a week amounted to a large amount of lost production. Teams of fitters began to run out of product after about a week. At that point the big boss got involved. He realized immediately that he could not ask me to go back to doing what I did before, so he offered me 30 minutes a day at overtime rate. Well, why not? I was there anyway. That 1 minute extra on the clock cost them 2.5 hours a week at time and a half for the next 2 years, when I finally left the company. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.